Guys, how's it going? So, let's see. I know I've done a couple of videos on how I'm similar to Amberlynn Reid before. And I just happened to have one pop up on my screen from somebody I'd never watched before. Like YouTube will suggest stuff and I'll go I'd watch, like I said, I was watching all those ones from, I think it's called Kicking Geese. And I really like her. She seems like such a nice person. Like she's someone I'd totally hang out with. Um, and I like her because she's honest. Like she's like, no. She doesn't want to play the game. She's like, you know what? No, be honest. But she still keeps hope that things will get better. And I think that's a great way to be. I think it's a great way to live. This video that I watched is by Shivy Pop. It only has like 15,000 views. It's up a week ago. Where she apparently had done a video where she talked about her aunt leaving because she was fat. And I guess that wasn't true. She did a, coming telling the truth type video, I guess, at some point later, and told the truth about what really happened. And I don't, it's whatever. I don't care about if she told lies, whatever. That's her deal. It's not mine. So back to what I was saying about Amberlynn Reid. So she was talking about her family and how, she lived most of her life in foster care, and how, her mom had issues and she doesn't really talk to her dad. And she doesn't talk to her brother because he's in jail. And I thought, our lives are different, but there's some similarities as far as family goes. I did not grow up with either one of my parents. My mom showed up when I was like 10 to visit me, and that was like it. She brought my youngest brother with her. And my grandparents' story was that she secretly told me it was my brother and had told them that she was babysitting. Why would my mother be visiting from another state and bring some child that ain't hers? Like, realistically. I mean, maybe that's what they think happened. I cannot imagine that anybody would do that. Anybody would say something like, oh, no, this isn't my child, even though it was exactly like her. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Sorry. My cousin. Anyhow. Oh, that's a whole other story. I'll tell another day. But anyhow. So, like, realistically, beside the point, she gave me this doll. When you squeezed her belly, her pigtails went up. And I remember very clearly. Her father used to come see me every once in a while. But a lot of times he'd say he was coming, and I missed things like my Christmas show for school, waiting for him to come visit. There were these toys called Glamour Gals. They were like these little dolls that had like real hair you could like brush and stuff, but they were tiny. And he told me that he found a whole bucket of them at the store, and he was bringing me for Christmas, so I was not going anywhere. You were not getting me out of that house, so I got to see my grandpa and get my Glamour Gals, because I was obsessed with Glamour Gals. And I waited. And I waited by the window, and I sat by the window. My grandmother kept saying, come on, you gotta go to school and do your show. I'm like, I'm not going. He'll show up when I leave, and then I won't get my present. I won't get to see him. And of course, when you're little, you just want your present. You want to see the person, but the present's always better. Because, children are obsessed with certain things. And there were days I waited, and I mean, he's now passed away. He passed away last year. And it makes me sad because I feel like we never really reconnected the way we should have. Which is a whole other story. But I mean, I had family that I knew who they were, but I never was seeing them, like they weren't around. And so I understand her feeling of just wanting to connect with somebody so badly. Because when I was pregnant with my daughter, I wrote a letter, and through Social Security at the time, I don't know if you still can do it. You can go to Social Security office if you have somebody's Social Security number, which during my time, I don't know if they still do this again, they would put the mother's Social Security number on your birth certificate. So I had her social. And so I was able to write her name and her Social Security number in the front of the envelope. I had to leave the envelope open because they had to be able to make sure I wasn't threatening someone. And what they would then do is seal the envelope, and they would forward it to the last known employer, in the hopes the last known employer is going to have the address and then be able to send it on to the person. And it took a few weeks, and then I got a letter in the mail from my grandfather's wife, Kathy. And so I called and I talked to her, and then I called and I talked to my mom. And I'm going to say this right up front. I do love my mom. But, creating a relationship, a mother-daughter relationship, when there hasn't been one is really difficult. And so I had already had my daughter at the point when I finally heard from her, and my daughter started crying. She was like, what was that? And I was like, that was my daughter. And she was like, "Oh, so you had a kid?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "A week old." And she was like, "Oh, well, that's good." And then, like, we talked, but it was always like, I always felt like I did the work. And, you know, when we went to Nevada to see my ex's parents, we had a layover in Chicago, and my mom and her husband picked us up from the airport and took us to lunch. And then we, you know, got back on the train. And, you know, we didn't, I mean, I called her from there because my ex's stepdad ended up being drunk. They made me sit on the floor during Thanksgiving dinner. It was a horrible trip. I was treated like trash. And it was just bad. Um, but, and I called her because I was upset, and she's like, "Well, I can't help you." And I remember that hurt so much, but then I just wanted my mom so much that I overlooked it. And then I had my son, and I called her from the hospital, and I said, "Hey, I had my baby, and it's a boy." And because the doctors told us it was a girl, and I was positive it was a boy, so it was kind of like, well, we're going to see what it is when it pops out, and it being a boy, because I was right. And she was like, "Oh, that's good." And she's like, "Well, I really can't talk because her husband's daughter had a baby, and they were going up to see it, and they were just getting ready to leave the house, and she was so sorry, but she would call me back." And literally, I would always call her, and she would talk to me for a little bit, and she'd say she'd call me the next week or so, and then I would wait, and I would wait a week or two, and then I finally just waited for her to call me back, and she didn't. And so we lost touch. And then MySpace, I found one of my brothers. And I messaged him, and I was like, "Hey, I think we're related." And so we started talking. He flew out to meet me, and we had a good visit. And I still love my brother to death. We don't always see eye to eye, but do any siblings? And I have two other brothers. One of them blocked me, and I still don't know why. The other one, we're just not friends. He did some pretty bad stuff, in my personal opinion, to my daughter. Not like that kind of bad stuff. Just like, he was married to somebody who was very toxic, and he let her control things, and they like drove by my house calling my daughter names and stuff, and I'm not all about that. So yeah, so I don't talk to him anymore. And you know, it sucks because I would love to have my mom and my brothers and have this great relationship. So that's just not how it works out. And I think of people who didn't have their family growing up, I think that desire to have this picture perfect family is strong. I know it is for me. I know I would love to have people that I can call family that feel really connected with, and I really don't. My grandma has Alzheimer's, so any kind of connection we have had is going away or is gone. My grandfather's just never been, you know, he's an old-fashioned guy. You know, he's just always been grumpy, and he's cool, but that man has never told me he loves me. I know he does. He's older, and but I know he does. I know he cares about me, but he's just an old-fashioned guy, and they don't say that. That's okay. Anyhow, and I had a situation with my dad had his heart attack where there was some hard feelings, and I'm not even going to what happened, but everyone just stopped talking to me because they thought that what somebody else said was true, and it wasn't. And we've just never recovered from that. So I desperately want my aunt in my life. But it's just something's not going to happen. Not that way. Not the way I would want it. And, I mean, I guess we're sort of in contact now, which is better than it has been. But it is what it is. I mean, what do you do, right? I mean, you can't change people. So, I mean, I think if you don't know people who've been through it where they haven't had family, it might be hard to understand these issues people have with life every day. And I think I can understand where she's coming from. I'm sure it affects her self-esteem because I know it's affected mine. Even though you don't want to admit it does, even though you want to think you're stronger than that, even though you tell yourself it's not affecting you that way, at the end of the day, it does. And I think abandonment is a thing that is, I don't want to call it abandonment, I think just disconnection. You know, because I mean, I've had the ability to connect with my family. It's just, you build up these Disney worlds, you know, of who your family is and how you're going to get along. Because on Facebook and Instagram, everybody's always so happy. Everybody's always showing you the best version of their life. And so you don't see when they're upset. You don't see when they have family members they're disconnecting from or any of that stuff. You don't see it. People don't show that. But they should. Because at the end of the day, we're all going through it. We all have people we lose as friends or family, or, you know, family fights or disagreements, or some of us have some crazier families than others. I mean, literally, I had to, when my cousin found me through DNA, I had to find cousins that I knew I had, but I'd never met. And so, I mean, my family has a lot of disconnection. A lot of people don't talk to each other. I desperately wanted to have people to connect with, and I've never had that really. So I think sometimes you just got to realize that people have had so much loss and disconnection. Sometimes it's hard for us to connect to ourselves. Just a thought. But anyhow, have a great day, guys. See you later. Bye.